Alex THSC. Oh, so 3 wins. It's been 3 wins so far on the bounce. I should be ecstatic. 3 wins in the Premier League. I have to say 3 wins in the Premier League, not 3 wins in the overall, because we all know what happened in the Europa Conference League, unfortunately. But 3 wins in the Premier League, and well, I should be really ecstatic. But there are more questions from this win than answers, and I'd like to go through that a little bit more today. We've got a lot to get through today, to be honest with you. I mean, I was at the Brentford game. I was planning to do a, a, a reaction to that, but just timings wasn't really working out, unfortunately, because yeah, there is other things, unfortunately, that are going on in terms of myself as well. So I would like to cover a little bit on that because it will go into what I saw against Norwich, because I was at the Brentford game. And to be honest with you, again, it will lead into what I felt was the overall picture for what I saw overall against Norwich today. Um, but yeah, it was it was a victory overall, a good victory at the end. But there was very much a lot of parts in the game where if it was a better team, it would have been a different result. 100%, unfortunately. And I don't think Tottenham fans, I don't think you can really get ahead of yourselves, unfortunately. This leads to more questions than answers, and I will start with the formation and the lineup, because if I'm really honest with you, and people will disagree with me, people will have questions about what I say here. I wasn't excited about this game. I was not excited about this game whatsoever. In regards to what Tottenham are going to be doing, what we're gonna, how we're gonna play, because I knew exactly what lineup he was going to put out. The only thing I was a bit shocked about is that Emerson wasn't playing. Um, Emerson Morale is not playing, and to be honest with you, if people have said that he is raw, he is very very raw still, and I don't think he's been as great as what people have made out to be, especially people like Regulon, for instance, as well, who for me has flattered to deceive as well. For me, he can do 100 times more, in my opinion. But we'll get into it more in the stream today. I hope everybody's well and enjoyed the match as well. But yeah, it was good to see Tottenham actually winning for once and getting themselves on a run. Um, but I do want to cover a few things to do with the last game, Brentford, because it will lead into what I felt for what happened during the whole game from Norwich as well. Now, for me, again, wasn't very excited about the formation again against Brentford. For me, Brentford, for me, I felt that we were much better on transitions. That was that was us being strong. I think that was our strongest point, our transitions in the game. Um, Brentford for me disappointed me. I felt that it was like a team that didn't have that much confidence going forward. Well, scoring goals. Ivan Tony, it just felt like an Ivan Tony team for me. I was in the West Stand, and it was just very much, well, if Tottenham had more about them, they could have taken them apart, to be honest with you. But really, to be honest with you, Brentford, if they had anything about them, they could have done more in against us as well. And I was very underwhelmed with the way that both teams played. I think it was a very um, slow, edgy game, I would say. I think that's from the whole thing from Moura, because obviously we didn't play against Burnley because that was postponed, wasn't it? So yeah, with the with the formation that we played, I do not like don't like the lineup. I don't like the lineup at all. I think it's too geared up towards Harry Kane, and I think I'll put my thoughts on Harry Kane. I don't want it to be a whole stream because I have spoken about him before, and I think we do talk about him a lot too much. As Tottenham fans, and I think we have to realise that it is about a squad and a team for me, and I think that's the only way we're going to do well in the future for me. And that's my opinion in that sense. I don't think we're going to do any better if we're going to focus on Kane, and focus on the aspects on other players in the team that come into the team and try and get the best out of us in games to try and win. When we try and approach winning games and stuff. So I will go into him a little bit later. But for me, it was again very stagnated sort of game for me. There were some good moments, like I said, transitions very, very well. We scored some good goals as well. But I do feel that if Brentford had more about them, they could have done more. Definitely, they were very, very disappointing. If I'm really honest, really, we started the game well in terms of getting forward and playing on the front foot, pressing. But that sort of pressing started to wane a little bit as the game went on, and you could see that Brentford were getting more stronger in the game, really, and started to exhort their game on us, even though they didn't really have any. There wasn't that much, they weren't as potent as much what they should have been really in the first half, and then even in the second half as well. Very, very disappointing as well. One thing I did see a lot of the time, which frustrated me a little bit. And this is why I pick up on Emerson a lot of the time, that we've gone over the top about his performances recently. We were very focused on that left-hand side. I could pinpoint a lot of the times that we were attacking down that left-hand side, and we weren't really mixing it up a little bit. Again, one of the things that frustrated me about us on Thursday against Brentford is that we were playing a lot through the middle. We weren't playing a lot on the wings, trying to get forward a lot of the time, but we were trying to do it a lot down that left-hand side. It was Song had a lot of the ball, very underwhelming for me. You've heard what Conte said. He wants to play him as a number 10. I think he looks lost. And I think that draws into what I'm going to say about the Norwich game. I think he looked a little bit lost, even though he scored a goal today. He looked very lost. And I think that came into his factor in that sense. I think he wasn't very good. Again, Moura, for me, he flattered to deceive. For me, he's not a player that he's a player that always seems to feel comfortable in the middle, and I feel that he needs to be a striker. He needs to be up front for me, if that's the case, because he's not a wide man. He's not a width guy. He doesn't bring the width to the team. He goes into trouble a lot of the time. He has his head down lots of the time as well. He does do some good skill sometimes, and he works so hard for the team. And that's one thing I will say about Moura. He put 100% in every single time, but he just really underwhelms for me. Very, very underwhelming. And I don't feel that he's I think that's it for Moura. He's just not. He hasn't got any end product. But we'll get onto the Norwich game, what he did today. But again, he was very, very underwhelming, and it was not surprising that he got substituted at the end of the day. At the end of the second half for me. But there was a lot of times that we were really focused on getting down that left-hand side, and it was kind of getting nowhere. But it was very much hard work, endeavour, without any clinical play at all. That's the word I was trying to say as well. But it was just really struggling to get through. But one thing I will say is, we do look very, very comfortable on the transitions, and that's really what came out of this game today against Brentford for me. And really, I think with the goal with Davis that scored, the goal that Davis scored, it was a good cross from it was good play from Reguilon and Son, and crossed it in, and I think it was ended up being an own goal. Even though Davis put the pressure on and tried to header it in himself, it was a good set piece for me. Very very good set piece, and that gained us a little bit more confidence going forward. I felt it put Brentford on the back foot. I've got to be honest, and they felt. I think they were still trying to find their way in the game. I think as well. Um, and I think that was the main thing, really, the theme of the game, really, the combination between Son and Reguilon. They really combined a lot throughout the game. Even though I wasn't as I wasn't as I wasn't as happy with them at the end of this game. I felt they were. I felt that they could have done better. I still think Reguilon's got more to his game. I still think Reguilon's got more to his game. He's got he can do more, and I think Session's proved it because he's attacking more down that left hand side against Norwich. I think he did really well in terms of doing that against Norwich, and I think compared to what Reguilon does, yeah, he does a few good crosses, but I think he can still do better. Defensively, he's getting better with his game, I think, for me. But he does flatter to deceive, and I think there's a lot of players that do flatter to deceive. I think in the team, I think, but Brentford did get did get used to us the way that we were attacking. I think they started to realise that, oh yeah, that's what's that's what we're I think that's what they started to realise. Oh well, that's all they're going to give us, and that's it. But Brentford just weren't clinical enough in attack, and if they had more to their attack, I feel that they would have if they had more in their attack, I think they would have caused us more problems. That's what I'm trying to say, really. Because when they started pressuring us, we would just look very very unsure of ourselves. It will bring me to some of the stuff that I saw in defence as well, and why it looks so bad when Romero's not playing, which I think really will prove a point, really, when he's back, because for me Romero's been making Dyer look good. Like, for instance, Skipper's been making Højbjerg look good, look very, very good, and it proved it. It proved it against Brentford, and for me, Romero is a big, massive miss for me, because Dyer looks so uncomfortable on the ball. Even when Davis is on the ball and Sanchez is on the ball, they just look so uncomfortable. And unfortunately, Brentford, I think, fortunately for us, Brentford didn't take advantage of that enough. I feel. I think they just didn't feel confident enough to take us on. Unfortunately, so yeah, I mean, again, it was very it was very very it wasn't fluid for me, and I think that just shows you that Conte needs more time on the training ground, to fits his plans and what he wants to do with the players and stuff. But again, I still go back to that lineup. I don't feel excited about that lineup at all. I don't think it lacks creativity, pace, people that are comfortable on the ball. Unfortunately, Dyer just doesn't feel comfortable at all, and I think Rodon should feel aggrieved that he's not in the team. If you're saying that he replaces Rodon, replaces Dyer in that centre of defence, I think he should feel unjustified that he should be, he's not in the team. I know he shouts a lot, he's a bit of a leader, Dyer, but I think Dyer, I mean, you can see his negatives. Unfortunately, he just on the ball. When you put pressure on him, he's prone to losing the ball. Unfortunately, and he is very very prone to losing the ball. Just need to go to some comments. Just got a comment from Cody Mack. Good to see you, Cody Mack. Hi, Alex. Nice to win with our B game today. Yeah, I mean, like I say, I mean, I'm going to go on to the Norwich game in a minute. I just need to just summarise a little bit on the Brentford game. But it was a nice win. I think again, there's a lot of questions there for me. I think the midfield isn't as good as what people say. I think Skip again, like I said, makes Højbjerg look good. It makes that midfield look very, very good. Skip was fantastic today. If I was marking him, I think he was definitely man of the match in terms of what he did. He did it against Brentford as well. He has some very good touches in against Brentford as well. And he's developing very, very well. And it's good to see Conte wants to make him a forefront of his plans as well. But for me, I think it's very premature to say that we look very good today. I think it's in terms of summing up the games that we've just played, especially against Brentford. I think goals change games. And it changed the game against Brentford, and it definitely changed the game against Norwich because Norwich were definitely the best team. They were definitely the best team in that game today. It wasn't. I mean, we taken our chances against Norwich. But just finishing off a Brentford game, because I do want to get onto the Norwich game. I mean, there was a goal in the second half which I felt was really, really good. But again, it's just shown you our transitions were very, very good in that sense. We were very good on the transitions in terms of it, intercepting the ball, and then getting on the front foot very, very quickly, and speed, passing, and getting on the attack, and then scoring. And I think that was very, very good in terms of the second goal. I think that was from Son. I think it was. That scored the goal, I think, and that was one of the things that was really, really good. I just need to go back to what I said because I think it was Son that scored the goal. It's quite a long time ago now that I can't remember now that he did score. But yeah, he was one. It was a plus point definitely in that game, definitely. Yes, it was Son. Yes, 65 minutes. Yes. So yeah, it was one of the plus points for me, Son, in the game. I thought very, very much a plus point in the game, definitely. And that we got back on the front foot, counter-attacking football, very speedy in the attack, and really got through very, very quickly in terms of got through very quickly, and then Son scored the goal, and it was very, very clinical. And I think that was the main point of that game, really, that we were very clinical when we were on attack as well. And in terms of set pieces, we were very impressive as well. I've got to say that as well, and that's going on to the Norwich game as well, really. But for me, Brentford really, really disappointed me. I thought they were going to give more, or give us more of a game. Really, for me, they just lacked confidence in front of goal. Ivan Toney wasn't non-existent in the game. I just felt that he struggled to get through us as well. But there had some good patterns of play, Brentford, but crucially they just weren't clinical enough, and they didn't trouble us at all, really. But they had opportunities to get cut us open, but they just didn't do it. And I just think on the day we just had the more clinical opportunities and taken our opportunities on the day. And I think that leads well into the Norwich game. I just need to read out another comment from Cody Matt. Thank you, Cody Matt. Cody Matt says Conte is only going to be able to get much out of this squad. We need midfield venom. I would say, I think at the moment partnerships in the team are lacking. I think that sums it all up, because I thought Norwich today looked like a team that looked very comfortable on the ball. We looked like a counter-attacking team. Summing it all up, we were just a counter-attacking team, and I think that's only going to do well against the the small teams. And I shouldn't maybe change my terminology. Maybe the teams that are struggling down the bottom, but anybody who's got a little bit more about them, looking at the teams that we've got ahead of us, like for instance, we've got Brighton next, Leicester next, and then Liverpool next. We will struggle against those teams, because for me, that lineup is not good enough to take on the big teams. It's not good enough to get results against the big teams. Even people that have got who are average, not good enough. Because for me, we struggle to break teams down. We played too much through the middle. There was so many times that, and especially when Session was on, he had so much space down that left hand side, and they didn't indicate passing very quickly enough. They weren't passing quickly enough. We were passing it very, very slow, and it just gave Norwich the opportunity to get back very easy. The only time that Norwich struggled against us is when we were going back on the transitions, and that's when we were starting to, or as we got the goal from, the second goal from set pieces, which we were very threatening for very, very threatening during those set pieces. Definitely, Son was very impressive again. But I will say this: Son does struggle. I don't think he's number 10. I don't think he's a number 10. And there was just so many occasions where he lost the ball and he just looked lost in that position for me. And it was a theme the whole game for me. I mean, we didn't start well. That was another thing as well. We didn't start well. Norwich had more possession. They were dominating the game. They looked very comfortable at the back. Very much very comfortable during the first half, especially with the first chance from Pukki. I mean, it was a very good early chance. I think it was Ida that's put on the chance for him, and then I think it was another player that was passed it back to him as well, and then Pukki just shot it at the goalkeeper. It was a good save from the goalkeeper, Lewis, who was very helpful during the game. Made some good saves during the game to keep us in it, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, I for me, I felt that Norwich had a lot of the play. We lacked a lot of quality down that way as well, really. And I think when we were put under pressure a lot of the time, we struggled. Unlike Norwich, when we put pressure on them, they thrived on it. They were playing through the lines. There was times when they had a long spill of possession as well, where they were just finding spaces throughout the team, and it was just clinicalness from just being clinical from Norwich. For me, if Norwich were more clinical in the game, I would have felt, we would have seen that they would have scored more goals in the game. And I think was the crucial point of the game for me. They didn't take their chances. We did take our chances. I think that's why it ended up being the result that we ended up being. But going back onto what I was the first half, the Norwich looked very, very comfortable on the ball. Very, very comfortable on the ball. Very impressive as well. I mean, I've been to nearly every single home match. Premier League. Well, I've been to every home Premier League match, and they really were very impressive in terms of getting through our game. That's why I wasn't very excited about the lineup, because I just felt that it lacked a lot of speed, pace, endeavour, creative parts of the team. It lacks creativity. I mean, it means Kane's going to come deep and try and start creating for us, which again I don't like it. I think he should be just stuck up front trying to score the goals, and he lacked that. He lacked that willingness to get into the box and try and score a lot of the time. He's doing it a lot of the time outside the box. There's one moment I really want to mention in the game. It was Skip, who for me, well, as you hear me talk about my reaction to the game, I felt he was fantastic throughout the game. He taken charge of the game. He was one of those. He was one of those midfielders that he just taken grip of the game for me. Um, and he's shown his quality as when he went forward as well. There was opportunity. There was times when he went through and had a shot, and the only reason why I think he had a shot because Tottenham lack movement up front. There's times when they're just standing still, Tottenham. Really like standing still up front. And you're sitting there thinking, why is no one moving? No one's moving. When you see Moura playing, they're playing on the front foot. Everyone's moving. Pookie's playing on the last man, but when you see our team, they're all coming together and they're all in the middle and it's all crunched up, and it just feels so frustrating for me. And there's just no fluidity. There's no playing through the lines, playing in triangles. You could see it from Norwich. They were playing in triangles a lot of the time and finding spaces a lot of the time as well, dragging our defenders this way, that way, this way. We weren't doing that. We weren't doing that. The only time we were doing that was when we were doing transitions. And I think Skip was very important in terms of starting attacks off as well. I think this is where his development will come into it. I think a little bit because he has got the nous to create a little bit further as well, start attacks off as well. I think he just needs someone creatively next to him to try and, you know, enhance their partnership for him as well. For me, because unfortunately Højbjerg is not that foil. I think he's very much a person that just does a job and that's it. And I think that was just a frustration for me throughout the game for me because there were so many good moments that we had in terms of opportunities to do it, but we're just too slow on the ball. We weren't individually trying to pass it, trying to find a man or anything like that at all. It was just very slow, turgid. And with Norwich, it was completely different. And for me, it was definitely against the run of play, the goal when Moura scored, which was a very, very good goal. Very good link-up play again from Son and Moura. Again, proving my point. I think he looked more comfortable, Son, when he wasn't trying to, when he was trying to figure out, trying to play on the last man. When he's trying to be this number 10 that Conte wants him to be, he looks very, very uncomfortable. Really, really uncomfortable. And I just feel that he's not very, he's not very comfortable in that sort of position. But again, maybe he needs more time on the training ground with the players, and that's it really. But it was a very, very good goal from Moura. I will be harsh. I would say he should be doing that more often for me. And I think we'll go on to what Conte said because I think from what I've just said now, I think Conte's just summed it all up for me. Conte, he should be scoring more. Should be scoring more. Almost all our young players look to pass backwards too quickly. Yeah, well, that's the point. We didn't look comfortable. We did not look comfortable when Norwich were pressing us. When you look at the difference between Norwich and Tottenham and the Norwich back line and look at Tottenham back line, when Norwich were coming forward and playing through the back, when we were pressing them, they were just passing through us. And they looked very, very comfortable. Only sometimes they intercepted it, sometimes in the midfield when Højbjerg and Skip or maybe even Reguilon sometimes or Tanganga, who did struggle down that right-hand side, but we'll get to that in a bit. And sometimes Moura did sometimes make some good interceptions. They look very, very comfortable in playing from the back. They really did look very, very comfortable. For me, Dyer, I now see why people have got a problem with Dyer. He looks so uncomfortable in defence. He looked so uncomfortable on the ball. There was times when he was getting caught on the ball a lot of the time. I would say a little bit about Sanchez as well, but I think Sanchez not so much. Sometimes Davis, and I do stick up for Davis a lot of the time, and I think he's showing a lot of quality, especially in the back three. But sometimes I do feel that he does go forward too much. But I think that's an instruction from Conte, it looks like, as well. But I do feel that he goes forward, a little bit too much, and I don't think that really helps us and leaves us, vulnerable at the back. To Højbjerg's credit, he does cover us a lot of the time. So I do feel that he's there were some very hairy moments when he went forward, Davis. I've got to be honest. I wasn't. He was good, but I think there was times when he left me wanting for me. But again, it's very early days, but he's playing very well for me, definitely. But we were very uncomfortable, passing from the back. We were very, very uncomfortable, and I think it just shows you how we miss Romero and where we need another defender. You need to get another defender, preferably a left-footed defender, because at the moment I think we struggle for that at the moment. I do feel that it would be interesting to see if Rodon gets his opportunity, because I do think we're lacking there. We need somebody who's very comfortable on the ball, and it's quite obvious to me, unfortunately, Dyer isn't that guy. Unfortunately, yes, he's a leader, and he has some good qualities, especially in defence, and he does make some very good interceptions as well. But he struggled today. He struggled today, and it's shown it today, especially against the two defences. Definitely. Big up, Alex. Hope you're well, man. Thank you, Tottenham Tantrum. Hope you're well as well. Hey, Alex. I think with our lack of quality, we grind the results until we can get better players. The only negative is Dele and Ndombele have seemingly had a bad first impression on Conte. Well, I will say this, with Dele and Ndombele. I'll leave that. I'll leave that. Actually, I will make a note that will speak about them later, because at the moment I do want to cover but I think I have covered this already about Ndombele and Dele, Dele. So, but we will cover that later. But I understand where you're coming from, but I think there's more to it than what you're just saying, Crocodiles. But thank you for your comment. Conte seemingly drawn blood from a stone, as he's shown with Davis, and makes me frustrated with Dele and Ndombele. If we applied themselves, then we'd have a squad. Yeah, I agree there. I definitely agree there. But we'll cover that in a bit with Ndombele and Davis. Individually, I feel like our players are stepping up faster in defence and playing more aggressively. Especially Lewis, who's getting off to the line much faster. He's sweeping a lot more. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I think Lloris was a big factor in the game today. I think he came across very, very well today, and he saved us a lot. He made some good saves, crucial saves in the game as well, and got through us. Got us through the game for me. But for me, there was a lot of questions like than answers for me. Kane, we'll get to him later. I will cover him later. I will definitely cover him later. But Moura, even though he scored the goal today, I wasn't impressed. He worked very hard, but again, when you're in that sort of position, you need to score more goals. You need to be more clinical. You need to be, creating more width in the team as well. I think we lack that a lot of the time. Moira's not going to give you that. He's just going to play through the middle all the time and go and hit into his first man. And he was lucky that it didn't happen for the first goal. It was a good goal, but again, that could have been. I think Norwich, if they closed down quicker, that goal would have not happened for me. So for me, you know, we lacked more clinicalness in terms of our play. We didn't play through the lines enough. We struggle. We in the transitions we look better than when we were trying to try and break them down. We struggled, 100% struggled. So yeah, and it just sums it up with the way that we played against it just summed it up with the way that Norwich played as well. Norwich had dominated us, completely dominated us in that first half, and they just lacked clinicalness. And if it were more clinical in the game, it would have been a different result. I mean, they deserved at least a draw at the game for me, Norwich, because they played better, and it was definitely against the run of play. After the goal from Moira. So moving on, Reguilon gets injured. From what I heard, he already had a little bit of an injury already, from what I understand. So unfortunately, yes, he had to come off, but it was an opportunity for Sessegnon, and instantly he made an impact. Trying to get himself forward, you could see that he was trying to push forward a lot of the time during the game, and there was a lot of times when you know he was trying to find the opportunities to get forward a lot of the time as well, which was impressive. But he did feel wanting sometimes at the back um, when he had to defend. But it was good to see him in the team as well. Definitely, it was very, very good to see him in the team. Um, another part of the team, another part of the game, which was I picked out, which was I thought was important in the game, was when we again. It was another transition. It was with Davis who started the move off, and then Skip carried on the move, and then it ended up with a chance. I think it was with Son. So yeah, Son, yeah, Son tried to score, and I think it was just annoying. It annoyed Kane because I think Kane wanted I think he wanted the ball back, unfortunately, so it did come off, unfortunately, in the game, unfortunately. But yeah, that was a good moment in the game. We were very, very dangerous in set pieces, very, very dangerous in set pieces. I felt. Um, I was impressed with some of the pieces from Son. It just seemed that Norwich didn't know where they were going in terms of getting away. Trying to cope with our set pieces, and we were very, very dangerous. There was a chance when we had a free kick, I think it was, and I can't remember what time it was, but Son crossed the box and Davis tried to, and it was basically an open goal. I felt an open goal, and he just missed his timing on the shot, and it went wide, unfortunately. But that was a good moment for us, definitely, throughout the game. Um, there was another chance throughout the game, another chance for Kane. Again, flat into deceive again. He tried to chip the keeper. And it just looked like a very frustrated Kane for me throughout the game. For me, I just felt that he was trying his best, but it just wasn't coming off for me today. It wasn't coming off today. It was not coming off at all. But very much throughout the first half, they were very much in cruise control, Norwich, um, and that's why I put a lot of questions up throughout the game, because I just felt that that gave me a lot of question marks about the team. Um, why is it that Norwich, who are third from bottom, creating more and being more on the front foot than us? And some of the explanations I was getting were, well, we're a bit tired at the moment, Tottenham. We're a bit tired, really tired. So we can't. We're very tired. We're very tired from the Thursday game, and I was like sitting there thinking, well, yeah, that's fine, but you can somehow get around that by keeping possession of the ball, and you can tire out maybe Norwich. But I didn't like it. I didn't like that sort of explanation. I thought, I think for me, that's not really an excuse. I think you should have the energy to get around that for me. Um, but again, I think that just sums up why I wasn't really excited about the team. For me, I just felt that there was lack of creativity, and I mean, I felt there was a lot of creativity going down the way of Skip when he tried to take on a lot of the team and tried to go from box to box, and he was very effective doing that. But another day. This is an average team, Norwich. Any other decent sort of team, you they were taking advantage of us, definitely, 100%. And for me, again, the form, the lineup, that's not your final lineup. I think there will be casualties in terms of. I think you're gonna find a lot of players for me. Um, won't be in this team coming at the end of the season. And I'm not talking about just the players on the sub bench. I think there's a case in point that there's a point that some of the players, like for instance Kane, for instance, who for me he doesn't fit into the team anymore. For me, that's why I think we should let him go in the future. Um, I think we should fade him out, and I think we need a striker that is predominantly up front and focused on scoring goals. We don't need a person that's going to create as well as score goals. I think we need somebody that is properly focused on just scoring goals, and then you get somebody who can create as well as that as well. And I think that's what we need at the moment. I think that's what we struggled with, and I think that's what makes us a counter-attacking team, unfortunately, because we just lacked a lot of ideas. Um, when Norwich were, strong in defence, we couldn't break them down. The only time I think it helped that we scored the goal first, so we could play more on the counter. But that was just a theme throughout the game for me, absolute theme throughout the game. Brendan Williams looked very impressive today. I've got to say, he got a lot. He caused a lot of problems in that down that left hand side. You know, well, left hand side, their side, against Tanganga. Tanganga didn't look comfortable whatsoever, right fullback, and then ended up getting taken off towards the end, unfortunately. Um, just need to answer some questions here. The big question game, we are improving under Conte, even if it's small part. How long do you think until we are in the full swing of things? Well, I think that's a bit premature to start saying that at the moment, Crocodiles. I've got to be honest. I think at the moment, this team's got a long way to go. A long way to go. I think if anybody average, very good, decent, comes against us, you'll see how we struggle. Um, because unfortunately, counter-attacking football only can work in certain games. Um, but there will be a time when we have to break down teams, and unfortunately, I don't think the team is good enough to do that. And we're not a team that does that at the moment. I think we work hard. I think he's put his points across that you need to work hard in the team, Conte. But unfortunately, that lineup isn't going to do it for me. I know a lot of Tottenham fans say that we should we should carry on with this team, this lineup. For me, it doesn't excite me. It doesn't get me thinking that this is going to get us anywhere. Um, and until something happens in January, I'm not going to get ahead of myself at the moment. So, and I'm never always optimistic about transfers at the moment. I think it's always wait and see. Even though Romero has started very very well, um, we don't know until January. So I see your point, but and this is not a slight on Conte, because even though I don't agree with certain things about the whole thing about Kane being in the team, Moura being during one of the three up front, um, Song being number 10, um, Dyer being centre defence, the centre back in that three-man defence, Højbjerg being in that midfield, um, saying Reguilon's any better. I don't think Reguilon's any better than Sessegnon at the moment. I think Sessegnon, if he puts a little bit more effort in and shows more, I think he'll compete for that place very easily against Reguilon, because I think Reguilon's flattered to deceive for me. Emerson again flattered to deceive, but Doherty didn't put himself in crowning glory when he came on for me. So I think there's a lot of things there for me, and this is why I say in the title, a win, great, but still loads of questions for me. Too many questions for me. But yeah, Brendan Williams was very, very, very good in terms of getting through. Was causing a lot of problems. Caused a lot of problems to Tanganga. I was very much, you know, he got struggled today, Tanganga, down that right hand side. If you really want to say it, very much struggled. I wasn't very impressed with his. He needs to be more a central defender for me. I think for me, Brendan Williams, he had him spun a lot of the time, and caused a lot of problems, and that played into the chances that Norwich had, um, where again weren't clinical enough. Um, it was a Pookie shot, deflected, and then as Ida missed from short range, um, and that was a good chance, a very good chance, where I felt for me, if they were more clinical, that was the goal, and that could have changed the game completely, putting more on the front foot, definitely. Um, so yeah, I think that was just a whole summing up of the the first half. But overall, we struggled. We struggled, and I think that was the feeling in the stadium. It was we were underwhelmed with the performance. I think Tottenham fans were very, very frustrated, thinking, why are we not pressing even more? And I came to the conclusion that just Norwich were playing better than us. They were more comfortable on the ball. They were very comfortable doing what they were doing and stuff, and they felt they're more used to playing that sort of way. For us, I don't think we were doing that. We just looked very uncomfortable. We're more comfortable when we're on the transitions playing counter-attacking football, and that for me sums up Tottenham. And that's why I think, answering what Crocodiles has just said now, it's going to take quite a while for Conte to get the best out of this squad for me. Højbjerg in a would be awesome, but a 4-3-3, I don't think he gels too well. Yeah, I think, because I did like the way that Winks was playing on Thursday. Going back onto the Brentford game, I don't want to go away from the subject, but we'll just go a little bit away from the subject, a little bit from the Norwich game. Just go back onto the Brentford game. I felt that there was a argument that it worked. It stabled us a little bit, with the three in midfield. Um, I still think he can do more, and I'm not. I'm still not. I still feel that Skip makes him look so much better. He's just does a job. To be fair to him, he covered a lot of the time with Davis. When Davis went forward, he covered a lot of the time in defence. So he does a very good job, and he works very hard for the team. Does some very good interceptions as well. But sometimes he gets into so many scraps, and at the end, towards the end of the game, he got into a scrap, and I was just like, "Why are you getting into a fight for? You don't need to get into a fight. You really do not to get into a fight." And luckily, he didn't get a yellow card because he pushed the Norwich player. But for me, he lacks quality. Um, I think he needs to be more forward. But for me, going forward, I, I don't I don't see him in our first team. I don't see it. But to be fair, I don't see a lot of players in our first team. To be honest, I think a lot of the sub players can do better. Um, Not even thinking about what we can do in January, but I just think some of the players can fight their way into the team because I just don't feel for me that there's enough there for me to say that this is a definite first team. No, I don't feel that at all. But Crocodiles, you have got a point there about the 3-5-2. Maybe that would be a point because I don't like the fact that I don't like a song playing that number 10. He can prove me wrong, but I don't think he fits well. I think he looked lost. Even though he played well, he scored the goal. I think that's where he scored the goal because he looked more comfortable in the position that he's taken to score that goal. But when he was trying to create, he just looked very, very uncomfortable. And that link up between Kane and Son wasn't there today. Definitely was not there today. I thought Doherty's sub completely changed the game. We dominated from then. Tanganga was having a bad day and was hurting us overall. I agree there. Tanganga wasn't very good at all today in terms of struggling. I think Norwich focused on focused on uh, the weakness there, and capitalised on it really. But overall, I think the whole team struggled. Um, and I think goals change games, and up to that point, especially the Moura, it was against the run of play. Um, it was against the run of play. Sanchez's goal. Um, Again, a good set piece. I thought the celebration was very, very funny for me. It looked like a guy that was trying to prove a point to some of the Tottenham fans because I think he knows that he's getting a lot of criticism. But yeah, for me, he wasn't. Yeah, I think Doherty was okay. I wasn't saying that he was brilliant. I don't think he set the world alight. I think, but yeah, you do have a point. I think it was more comfortable. Um, but I think when you got Emerson back in the team, I think Doherty's got to do a lot more to prove to Conte that he's going to be a fixture in Tottenham. Definitely, definitely needs to be a more a fit. Definitely needs to be more stronger. Show more in his performance if he wants to be in the team more. To be honest with you, I don't feel that he did enough today. I think it was a great opportunity for him. Um, but yeah, I was underwhelmed by his performance. I've got to be honest. Um, but yeah, Sanchez's goal, yeah, it was a very no nonsense sort of goal. It was a good header out on by Davis, who, to be honest, even though there was hairy moments when he was playing, going up front and stuff, he did, look very good. I think he did play well. He did play well, definitely. Um, so yeah, I do feel that he did play well, definitely. I thought he did really well anyway, in terms of that, and he did really well for that goal. Overall, I think he did okay, to be honest with you. But still, for me, throughout the game, Norwich still were cutting us open, and it was just getting frustrating, really frustrating. I was just like, what is going on? Why are we letting them attack us a lot of the time? But again, I think it's just Norwich look more comfortable on the attack and attacking us on the transitions. I was very much frustrated with them as with Tottenham. I mean, I do need to put up some things here. I just need to say because if I could get some statistics up, but I don't think really want to get too much into statistics too much. But from what I saw, it just it was continually they were carving us open a lot of the time, and I think the third goal kind of killed off the game. Even though after the game, um, even though after that goal, they still were coming forward, and still you were thinking that they were going to get a consolation goal at least. So it very much shown how we were struggling to cope with their attacks. And again, I go back on to what I say. Um, if it was a better team out there, this would have been a different result. And I think against Brighton and Leicester, you'll see that. You'll see that because I don't think you can carry on doing that and getting away with it. I think we got away with one today, unfortunately. And I think that just sums it all up. Son's goal, great link-up play from Skip, and great link-up play from Skip and Davis again. That set up Son. Again, he looked so comfortable. This was on 76 minutes, 30. And he looked so comfortable when he's in the box. And I think that's what he was missing. Trying to, attack Norwich, not being concentrating, trying to create for the team. He just didn't look very comfortable at all. And I think that when he scored that goal, I think that was just a relief, to be honest with you. But to be honest, he was very hit and miss Son. As I said, playing that number 10 role doesn't suit him at all for me. And I think either they need to do more on the training ground with him, and develop his game further and understand the methods of Conte. But I mean, for me, if there's a better team, Liverpool, Manchester United, Leicester, Brighton, because they are better teams in the Premier League, West Ham, they'll just mark him out of the game. They'll just mark him out of the game. And for me, I lose my. I think there's a lack. I just think we lacked it. For me, very much lacked it. Lacked a lot today in terms of breaking down the defenses of Norwich. And I think Norwich shown a lot more in attack, playing through the lines, being very comfortable in defence, like I said before, playing at the back, playing up higher up as well. I think we just lacked it, majorly lacked it a lot. So yeah, the overall, I think in terms of the game, I think goals changed the game today. Really, we taken our chances. We were more clinical. Norwich didn't. They struggled. I think that killed off the game. The third goal killed off the game, and we knew that we were going to get the 3 points. I was disappointed when Bergwijn came on. He could have done more for me, because I think if he shows a little bit more in terms of scoring goals, I think he will be a first teamer for me. If you're saying that he's a striker, but he shown a little bit of quality, but it wasn't much. But I think for the time that he had, I don't think he wasn't as much impact as well for me. But we became more comfortable after that third goal. I think we're cruise control, I would say, and I thought we could have got a fourth. But unfortunately, we just didn't. It didn't work out like that. Unfortunately. So yeah, I think that was really the summing up of the whole game for me. But yeah, positives on the game today. Transitions, really really good. When we intercepted Norwich, we broke very very quickly, and counter attacking very well. One goal I think was from an interception, the Moura goal, and it's a fantastic goal at the end. Um, I would say, from our set pieces were very good as well. We caused a lot of problems with our set pieces. Credit to Son. Son was very good in that sense, creating chances for us um, through set pieces, and they were crucial in terms of winning the game for us. So that was a positive as well. Negatives, I have to go on about the negatives here. Norwich looked so much comfortable in defensive and the playing through the back than us. As soon as Norwich pressed us, we looked so uncomfortable, really uncomfortable. I was very much disappointed about our play. We just couldn't break them down. And if Norwich were more solid in defence, more clinical, this would have been a different result. And we can't get away from that. 100% doesn't tell the whole story at all. And I think that's why at the beginning of the game, I think that would be a negative as well. The formation, the lineup. I didn't like the lineup. Did not like the lineup. Wasn't excited about the lineup. Wasn't excited about the game because I knew about the lineup as well. I was surprised that Tanganga played. But I just wasn't excited about the lineup. It was just pretty bad, to be honest with you. It's shown that we're just a counter-attacking team, lack of creativity. Even though I think there is creativity in the team, even on the sub bench, I think, um, lacking that. I mean, I know that we can talk about. We'll go on to Ndombele because I know that was a question that was came up by Crocodile. Um, but yeah, I just felt that was lacking. Dyer, gosh, he struggled today. He really struggled today. If I was marking him, I think he would be one of the lowest ratings. I think because he didn't have a great game today. I think today, when you press him very high, um, you can make him very very uncomfortable, and I think that's why Norwich had a lot of the possession as well. They got a lot of possession because we caused a lot of problems on our box because of the not us being not very comfortable in attack. Um, so yeah, it was very well in defence. I mean, defensively, passing him from the back. So that was one of the things that I was very uncomfortable with. I think as well. Very slow in possession. We were very very slow in possession. I was I wasn't. There was times when we had possession and there was space on the left hand side, and we're passing it back, passing it back, passing it back. And I was sitting there thinking, there's so much space down that left hand side. And then as soon as you get down the left hand side, slowly down that left hand side, Norwich figure it out and stop us from attacking as well. So it was just slow. And when you look at Norwich, they were more quicker, playing through the lines, movement. Tottenham lacked so much movement. And this has been a problem for a long time. A long time. Even when Mourinho was in charge, it was a long time. Even when Pochettino was in charge, that last part of the season, I don't like going back too much, but we've always had this problem of lack of movement. Even when Dyer was in midfield, under Mourinho, lack of movement up front. this really wasn't very good. And the only time we started to get really good in terms of getting attacks going is when we were on the transition. And I think against a better team, that for me is going to be a struggle for me, and it will end up being a bad result for me. Um, Another positive. I need to go on the positive because I've got this positive. Um, Skip, fantastic today. If I was scoring him, he would be my top mark today. He created the chances. He created the chance for Son. He started the attack off for Moura as well. He was one of the positives today, but he's been a positive for He's been a positive all throughout the season. He's been our standout player, other than Romero, and yeah, he's been pretty much flawless. Again, saying it again. I don't want to say it again, but you know, Højbjerg is the worst out of the two. Um, there is a little bit of a partnership going. We'll have to see how it goes. There needs to be more offensive offensive play by both of them because it's too defensive. But today there was a lot of endeavour from Skip, and he caused a lot of problems for Norwich and got us going a lot of the time as well. So I was very impressed with him, definitely. Um, I feel Neuer needs to be number 9. He's a striker. Um, I don't like him down that left hand. I don't like him on the wings. He doesn't create anything. Um, he struggles a lot of the time. He has a lot of endeavour, but I think what Conte says summed it up perfectly. He needs to score more goals. If you're up front, you need to score more goals. It's not good enough just working hard for the team, because that won't get us anywhere, really, unfortunately. So yeah, I know it's funny to criticize Moura, but everybody knows what I feel about Moura. He doesn't do enough. Doesn't do enough in terms of end product. And that was his first goal in the Premier League since February. His first goal in the Premier League since February. February. So that's a long time to not be scoring in the Premier League. A very long time. So for me, his spot is available at the moment. I think his spot can be someone can take over his spot easily. If someone puts themselves going, gets themselves going, in the second team, on the sub bench, they can take his spot because unfortunately he is vulnerable because he doesn't. His end product is terrible, and he doesn't do that enough, unfortunately, and I don't think his game's going to get any better, unfortunately. Um, we're now going to get to the subject that everybody wants to talk about, everybody loves to talk about, and it is our lovely guy, our lovely vice captain, the guy that is the poster boy of Tottenham, Harry Kane. Oh, I get tired of talking about him so much. It's not that I've got nothing against him, but I get tired of talking about it because it's not, like I said, not Harry Kane FC. It's Tottenham FC. God, I mean, it's like a saying. It's like a go-to saying that I say all the time. It went over my head. It went over my head. Was it now 5-6 months ago? We're still talking about him. But anyway, I feel that he's outgrown us. He's outgrown us, Harry Kane. I think we should have sold him in the summer. I think we are not going to move forward with him in the team anymore. We don't fit to him, and we're just, the team isn't focused around him anymore. If we do focus on him a lot, we rely on him too much, and for me, that is not how we're going to get. We're going to be able to refresh this team, unfortunately. So for me, when he comes deep, it doesn't really help the team. There was times today when he went deep, and there was a chance there was a cross in the box, and he's like jogging towards the box, and I'm like, why are you not rushing in the box? this is your opportunity to score. And it's like he's either trying to be a number 10 or he's just not. He's trying to create, or he's just given up trying to score goals now. And for me, it's I'm not having. It's not that I think he's doing it on purpose. I think he's trying his best, but again, like I said, I just think it's just not working for me. And I think this might be very controversial, but I just think we are not going to win the Premier League with Harry Kane in the team. We're not going to win anything major. We might win a Carabao Cup, maybe win the FA Cup, maybe win the Europa Conference League once. You know, I don't want to get into competition again, but we'll never ever win the Premier League, in my opinion, with Harry Kane in the team. I think it's done. I think it's done now. Um, it's you know, I think unfortunately he doesn't fit well in the team anymore, and I just think that he will. I think until Tottenham Conte realizes it, I think we'll be struggling with him in the team. And I think we'll prove it against Brighton and Leicester, because I think unfortunately Norwich weren't clinical enough today. It would have been a different game if Norwich scored. I think it would have ended up being a draw, maybe even a win for Norwich, because Norwich were very, very impressive, more impressive than Brentford. Brentford weren't clinical in attack at all. Didn't take you know weren't potent enough in attack. Norwich were very much clinical in attack. Um, you know, fluid throughout their attacks. You can see that they were playing towards Pukki's strengths at the moment. Kane, we're not playing to his strengths anymore now. I think Conte says that he wants a main striker up front. Well, I don't feel that he's a main striker up front. He's like he wants to be this creative midfielder as well as a striker, and it doesn't help Tottenham at all, unfortunately. There's just so many opportunities where you know he just lacked that endeavour and just lacked that positional play as well to stay in where he needs to be up front. And he just disappoints me completely for me. And I think yeah, it's difficult for me to say that, but I think if you want to refresh this squad and be more a team like West Ham are, like Liverpool are, like Manchester City are, unfortunately, that team needs to be without Kane. Unfortunately, I think it makes more sense having Song up front, having Moura up front, or Bergwijn up front, or having a striker that you could buy up front, purely focusing on scoring goals. And yeah, I think Kane needs to go to a team that fits his needs now. And unfortunately, we don't fit his needs anymore. I mean, we've become over reliant on him. Unfortunately, that's just my opinion. So yeah, that's my opinion on Kane. On to Ndombele and Dele Ali. My opinion on this, I think I said this before in terms of Dele Ali and Ndombele, especially Ndombele. The reason why Ndombele can't get in the team, and I think this is why I like Conte. I think I appreciate him as a coach. He said it summed it up perfectly. He plays for himself. As like Dele, he plays for himself. Doesn't play for the team anymore. Does not play for the team anymore. And I think that's why he's not getting in the team. And I agree. I totally agree with that, because Ndombele, yes, he's got the skill, he's got the quality. You can say that he's got everything. Dele's got quality as well, but he doesn't play for the team. I mean, one thing I will say about Højbjerg, and one thing I'll say about Moura, they will play for the team all day long. They will run for the team. They'll run everywhere for the team. Skip will run everywhere for the team. Kane, he will do his best for the team. I mean, I'm not saying that I stick by what I say. He needs to go. Unfortunately, we need to let him go. We need to fade him out. This is his last season, 100% his last season. I will definitely say that. But for me, they don't work for the team, and that's why he's not in the team anymore. He's not in the team at all until they realise that, and they will struggle to get into any other team because as if the game's focused on them, it's fine. Sorry, it's fine. If the game's focused on them, it's fine. But because we need a more of a team mentality, that's what wins games. That what wins trophies in that sense, and develops our squad further, and develops confidence and teamwork and camaraderie and everything else. We all need to work for a team and need to know their position, and that's what Conte's like. Whether you agree with it or not, that's here nor there, but that's what we need at the moment, and they don't do that anymore. They don't do it, and I think that proved it against Moura. Yes, he does some nice skills and stuff, and it's nice and flashy, but that's not enough to. That's great, but where's the end result? You see, and Dele Ali's just unfortunately didn't do himself a favour against Moura. Um, they say that he wants to be a number 8. Well, you need to tackle back and press as well and do what Skip's doing at the moment. He doesn't do that. So for me, he definitely doesn't want to be a striker. Where do you put him now? So for me, I think it doesn't look good for Delhi, and it will be wouldn't be surprising if he looks for a loan in January. Unfortunately, it does give us a problem because he's a homegrown player. So, but you know, um, the I mean, we might not have that problem if we don't compete if we don't compete um, against Rennes and don't get a better result than the test on Thursday. So yeah, Delhi, he disappointed me unfortunately. I don't know what he wants in terms of what he wants to achieve because at the moment he just looks lost unfortunately, and I think the formation doesn't fit him. He needs to adapt his game to Conte, and it doesn't look like he's going to do that, unfortunately. Um, I do think Wince looked good. He did lose the ball a few times against Brentford, but you could see the effort and what he was trying to do. Um, so I think he's still got a lot to give. I think definitely, but for me, yeah, Delhi looks very vulnerable, unfortunately. Um, I do feel sorry for Rodon. After seeing what Dyer did today, I think his positions can be got at. For me, I think Rodon should be given a chance if he's that central defender that Conte wants. So yeah, I think that for me is what we need to do with him. I think give him a chance. I think he's unlucky against Moura. Um, but yeah, I think if you had a Romero next to him, I think that would have been different story for me. I think that's why we do need an extra defender who's left-footed, definitely. Um, I don't know how a creative midfielder would help where the creative midfielder that Tottenham need is someone that is going to create but also press as well, be a presser as well, and tackle back as well, and work hard for the team as well. We can't have a creative midfielder that doesn't do that in this team because then they become a passenger and be a liability in defence. So I don't know who they're going to go with at the moment, but for me, I think he's going to stick with Kane. Whether what I've said already, but I think he will stick with Kane up front. I think he'll buy another striker maybe. Because it's clear that he from what he just said in the previous pre-match match interviews, he said that Kane's got to play most of the games, which always ends up in disaster for me. I didn't like that comment from him, and to be honest, I think that's the disaster for me waiting to happen. But it's interesting to see what he said about Irvine, and hopefully, with more time on the training ground, we'll see more from Irvine. Yeah, I think there's just so much things that I think just needs to be sorted. Unfortunately, with this team, I'm not. Like I said, I wasn't happy about the formation of the lineup, and I'm still not going to be excited about the lineup if we still play the same lineup next time as well. It's interesting now because we move on to that really. It's good to move on to that. Really moves us on really well to the Europa Conference League game on Thursday against Rennes. We do need to play our first team in that game. I want to get through that game. I really want to get through. I think that's our only opportunity for me to get into Europa League, which I think is a bare minimum this season. I think we need to be settled team as well. I think that's the main thing as well. But I mean, I would like to be back into that Europa League next season. So I think we do need to take that very, very seriously. I think we need to go for a more attacking team, play on the front foot, and go out, get at Rennes in that game for me. It's a shame when Romero is not there. I think it would have been perfect for the game. Really, I think it would have been more comfortable at the back as well. But yeah, it's a crucial game for me, and I think we got to play all the big guns. I think Bergwijn needs to play. I don't want Moura to play. I would like to see Lo Celso play as well. That would be an interesting one as well. And I think for me, I think Dyer. I don't want Dyer to play. I think he'll look very uncomfortable in defence. Lloris has to play for me, because I don't think the goalkeeper Collini is as good as what we think he is. Unfortunately, I think we need our captain in that game. He will play Kane, whether I like it or not. He will play Kane, and Son as well. But I think for me, I think we do need someone creative in that midfield, and I think Lo Celso will be really good in that midfield. I think it's an important game for Sessegnon, definitely. If Reguilon's not fit for that game as well, so I'd like to see him try and take on players, get more forward as well. I mean, he's used to that sort of position, so I think he should take advantage of that really. And I think the position for left wing back is up for grabs. Up for grabs, definitely, 100%. Because Reguilon hasn't set the world alight, unfortunately. Yes, he's been up and down, but I think that just sums up the whole team for me. But I think he'll stick with the same team. In my eyes, I think obviously Emerson will come in for Tanganga. I think Tanganga might be more central defense. I think maybe, depending on whether he wants to keep Sanchez there. But I think Sanchez has been okay, really, to be honest with you. I think the whole reason why he did badly against Moura is because he's not a left centre back. He doesn't like playing left. He's not a left footer. He doesn't feel comfortable in that left position. Unfortunately, he's more comfortable on the right side. So for me, that's what I feel that he needs to do. We need to. I think that's what we need with him. I think playing there really. But I think Dyer will play. Dyer will play. Sanchez will play. Davis will play. Davis has been very, very impressive. Hopefully, he'll be fit for the game. Continue with his fitness as well. Emerson will play if he's fit. I don't know the whole ins and out why he wasn't playing today. Sessegnon, just in case. I think if Reguilon's injury is as bad, isn't if it is bad or not. If he can't continue, can't play. I think Højbjerg and Skip will play, even though I think Lo Celso should play in that middle midfield. And then I think it's between Song and Kane will play. I hope Bergwijn will play instead of Moura, because I think Bergwijn will give us more width than Moura will. And I think the most important thing in this game, I think we need to make the pitch bigger. We don't do that enough for me. So yeah, I think that's what I expect in that game. Really, we need to go for it because we need a better result than Vitesse, who have got Moura, unfortunately. So we've got to think that they're going to beat them. So we do need to really be at it, unfortunately. So yeah, I think for me, there's a lot to be positive about. But yeah, hopefully we do get the job done against Rennes. But it'll be a very tough game. They were very, very good in the first game for me. Very, very good, and they were very, very impressive as well. So I expect a very difficult game, but we can get through this game, and I'd like to see us in the next round, well, playoff at least, because we're going to get into the playoffs. That's what what happens if because we're not going to get first place, unfortunately. We played it so badly, Tottenham, this Europa Conference League. Unfortunately, I think it's been really bad, really bad. It's embarrassing, really. And I think we missed an opportunity if we get not chucked out of this competition. I don't. I will stick by what I say. The Carabao Cup is a tick box. I still want to win that West Ham game. I want to win the Carabao Cup. Yeah, gets us gets the cup thing out off our head. I mean, I know there's some young people who haven't seen Tottenham win anything that will cherish this. I know there's people that will cherish any cup. My attitude to it is that I don't think it's progress until I see other things in place as well. I don't see any progress as far as I'm concerned. It's no different to what we did previously under other managers like George Graham, which people don't want to mention, but I can mention it because it's the truth. And Ramos, and look what happened there. So I think I don't even think Conte is going to be happy with just the Carabao Cup either. I know because 18 months contracts, that's not a long time. So, for progress for me is definitely getting to Europa League this season. I stick by what I say, even though Manchester United have trying to give away their fourth place, and fourth place is up for grabs. I will admit that, yeah, definitely. I don't think we're in the race at all. I will only judge it in April and see where we're at then. I don't care whether we're 2 points, 1 point, 3 points away from top four. I don't care. It's December. Until April, I can start making conclusions. And that team today is not a top four team. 100% not a top four team. It's frustrating because you see West Ham, the way that they played against Chelsea, and they're top four at the moment, and they're performing really well and performing like a team. It's very, very frustrating me saying that, but I can't lie to myself at the moment. This is not good enough at the moment for Tottenham. There are more questions than answers for me, and that's why I go back to the title. Great win, but still more questions than answers. I've just got to do some housekeeping as well. I have to say this as well. Oh, Tottenham fans, why do we get so excited about absolutely nothing. I've got to be honest. I mean, honestly, the amount of times I've heard about Vlahovic or from Tottenham fans, I might as well. I mean, I'll be rich. I'll be absolutely rich. Honestly, like, just wait and see what happens in the transfer window. Like, why are we getting so wrapped up on like, oh, we're gonna get this player, we're gonna get this player, we're gonna get this player. Oh, this player's leaving, this player's leaving, this player's leaving. What are we going on about? Just relax. We don't need to worry about that at the moment. Like, we're not even in the transfer window at the moment, and we're talking about transfers. Leave that to whatever's going on at the moment. You know, he needs to start figuring out what's going on with this team at the moment. You know, we and I don't understand the logic at the moment. It's like we're playing FIFA a lot of the time and trying to we're linked with this player, this player. Oh, well, he's definitely going as well. I was hearing that Birdline was leaving. I heard Birdline was not in not in his plans. Well, it's completely different to what he's just said now. He's played most of the games now. He's been coming on for sub as a sub last two games. So what are we talking about? Honestly, I don't get it. I don't get it. And to be honest with you, I just completely ignore it, um, because I know that people love to hear and like to finesse it all and say, "Oh, this is coming, this is happening," but really, what are we expecting at the moment? There's nothing to expect. Even Conte says, you know, it was a very hard game today. There's a long way to go. And like he's recognized, you can see, I understand more about this squad now, but after the Moura game. So he knows there's a long way to go with this squad. And the only reason why that we're close to being fourth place is because it's West Ham in that fourth place. And secondly, Manchester United completely messed themselves up. That's the only reason why. So I still stick by what I say. 73 points or more gets you top four. We're not going to do that. Now, if it's any lower than that, it's a bad Premier League. It's a very bad Premier League. So I'm not I'm not getting ahead of myself in terms of this I'm not getting ahead of myself at all. I really am not, and I don't see the point of getting in my head, ahead of myself anymore. To be honest with you, with this team anymore, I've even heard some people at the moment. It's like, oh, we're getting really excited at the moment. We're doing really well at the moment. We're going way over the top, way over the top until April. We'll see what we can achieve, but we've got a long way to go. Absolute long way to go, and um, I think the reality will be against Brighton and Leicester. I've never been a fan of Leicester after they won the Premier League, um, and it cut me up when they won the FA Cup as well. They've done things better than us, definitely. And Brighton, a well-run club, coached very well by the manager there as well. And yeah, for me, Graham Potter really managed the team very, very well. Um, it's going to be a very, very difficult game. Um, those games, and I think it will sum up because if Norwich had a striker that scored, if they had someone that could score goals, it would have been a completely different game. Um, so yeah, I wasn't. I'm not going to get my head on myself, definitely, and yeah, I'm not. I think there's a long way to go, unfortunately. A massive long way to go, unfortunately, with this with Tottenham at the moment, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover today, and yeah, thank you for everybody that made comments today. Please, can you comment if you agree with any of my points. Just I'd like to get feedback on just comments on just what you feel, what your thoughts are on the game, what you feel is going to happen going forward. I hopefully will do a few more streams throughout the week with news, my thoughts on certain things. If things come out of Tottenham, it's just interactive. It's just a bit of fun. But it's always nice. It's great to see that people have been watching. Because it's been up from 3 to 5, and I do really appreciate it because I do sometimes waffle on sometimes, and I am trying to get better at this. But I will get better at this in time. But yeah, I really do appreciate it, and hopefully have some graphics as well in terms of play and stuff like that as well. What pictures of what I saw in terms of the match and stuff, just to explain showing what I saw and what I'm actually talking about as well. But until next time, I hope you have a good evening, and take care of yourselves, and goodbye.